To discuss, let's bring in Eric Mandel. He's the director of the Middle East Political Information Network, and also William Ogborn. He joins us from Washington, D.C. He's a global risk consultant and former diplomat with the United States State Department. Eric, let's start with you here on set with us. Welcome as always. So the IAEA, the UN atomic watchdog, they confirmed today what Iran already told the world that they're doing, and that's accelerating enriched uranium. What I find more surprising is the other part of the story, that the IAEA chief said it's not clear when Iran will reach the limits set in the 2015 deal. When a UN atomic watchdog says Iran and unclear in the same sentence, that's bad news.
Well, this is not surprising because Iran, the only way that you could really know what Iran is doing is to have inspections of the military sites, and that's related to something called the Additional Protocol, which is supposed to be part of the JCPOA, but is not, and Iran says it's voluntary, and the IAEA has never visited a single site. Also, they never really followed up on the archives of knowing the history of uranium enrichment. The real question here is, you had last week the Ayatollah saying it is against Islamic law to have nuclear weapons. So why do we have a JCPOA? Why is the IAEA head Amano wanting to be concerned about this? This is a practice that the Iranians are doing to fool the West, and the West is playing along with them, not President Trump, but having instex, having ways to get out of dollar-denominated transactions, and that's where they're dealing with Germany. So I think what's going on right now could lead to an action by Israel, but Oli Heinonen, a former nuclear inspector, says that not only is Iran breaking some of the rules now by having too many IR-6s, them very fast going along, but there may be up to 5 nuclear underground sites that are not accounted for beyond Natanz and Fordow.
Yeah. William Ogborn, let's bring you in here. I mean, shouldn't Iran be treading lightly at this point? I mean, not only is it enriching its uranium, but it could be very close to, if not beyond, the cap, the limit that was placed on it over the nuclear deal. In the face of U.S., in the face of heightened tensions with other neighbors in the Middle East, what's Iran doing?
Well, right now they have to keep saving face, and that, Iran is an honor-bound culture. So they're seeing it as, if the U.S. is going to threaten us, if Israel is going to threaten us, and Saudi Arabia is going to threaten us, well, then we have to stand up and we have to have that bluster too, and we're going to show them that we aren't going to back down to anything. The president, all he wants is for them to actually come to the table, give him a phone call. He wants to make a deal, but that would take losing face for the Iranians, and they're not ready to go to that step.
Eric, do you think that's the case, that Iran is really wants to talk with the United States, but they're trying to save face? Or maybe it could be that the timing isn't right, because at the moment they can still withhold sanctions. Germany is trying to help them circumvent the U.S. sanctions with this new trade mechanism. Plus, they know that the 2020 elections are just around the corner.
Well, I do agree this is an honor-bound culture, and shame and honor really, and it's in the whole Arab, they're not Arabs, they're Persians, but I think in the Middle East this is very important. But as far as what they feel the economic pain of sanctions, and that's the only reason they came. Remember, this is an Iranian revolutionary theocracy that is beyond some of the Western type of give me better economic conditions and things will be better. And so I don't think this is just about honor and shame. I think this is about they want regional hegemony.
Well, William, I want to ask you, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu weighed in on this. I mean, basically accusing Iran of lying about its nuclear program, that it is not only enriching uranium, but is probably increasing its nuclear program overall. That's going to lead to a heightening of tensions for sure, right?
Absolutely. And I think that only naive people would say that Iran couldn't have been doing any of this beforehand. We saw with North Korea beforehand. We've seen this before in the past. People lie to us about their nuclear programs. And then suddenly they have nukes, and we're like, oh, that's so surprising. We shouldn't be surprised. Of course they're going to continue to try and develop as low-key as possible, not grab attention. But we know that there are undeclared sites. It was mentioned before. We know that they are continuing to do things to ramp up as they can. And they hope to explode on the scene to say, now we have a bomb, now you have to take the sanctions off, and now you have to listen to what we have to say. And they're really playing a dangerous game here, because when you look at it, the allies against Iran are looking for a reason why they can go in and at least stop this program. And the
Right.
sanctions are the means to try and get to that way. So if Iran wants to play that dangerous game, they're going to lose, and it's going to be awful for the people of Iran.
Sure.
It's not. We're not looking really at the mullahs. The mullahs, you know, they're their
Right.
own entity. They have the elite. They have their generals as well. But the people of Iran are the one that are suffering under the sanctions, and they're the
Sure.
one that are going to suffer if the mullahs won't back down.
Dangerous game that the world is watching. William Ogborn, Eric Mandel, thank you both for being here.